This is Matt Beagle, and we're back with part 2 of projecting cards, and we're also going to get into how to set up a good draft strategy so that while you're in the heat of the draft moment, you can make good decisions with your draft. Last time we talked about that the key to projecting your cards is that home run per at bat or home run per inning pitch ratio. Those are your keys to establishing a baseline, finding a similar player from which you can then compare batting average, on base, and slugging percentage to project a good card. So once we've seen what the guy's stats are this year, we pull out our ratings from last year and we try to find someone most similar. Well, rarely will you get somebody right on point. So one of the things I found over time, and this is really an estimate, but it still gives you a good idea, is the rule of 7. For every 7/1000ths of a point in average, on base, and slugging, it's almost 1 unit of on base, hit, or total base. Now, it's not a perfect formula, but it gives you a guesstimate when you're trying to figure out how many on base units, how many hit chances, and how many total base units. So if you find a guy who's similar, but you're 21 points off in average or slugging percentage, that's worth 3 units of hits, on base, or total base, whichever unit you're using to measure. So that rule of 7 also helps you in estimating your card. So remember, use that home run ratio, then use stats from last year to find a similar player to stats from this year, and that will give you a good estimate of your card value. Okay, once you've estimated your cards, how do you plan your draft? Well, you can do spreadsheets, you can use highlighters, there's lots of different ways, and with computers, spreadsheets are all the rage. And while I deal with spreadsheets every day in my real job, I really find them confining sometimes when I want to really sort things. I'm kind of old-fashioned. I like to do it by hand. The best thing I ever came up with to help me with my draft, and this is going to be real silly and probably make your wives really happy when you go to the store and buy these, are color-coded index cards. And the reason I like these is because when I do a spreadsheet, I tend to rank the guys, and I can do different sheets by position, but I always have trouble really visualizing it. But by using different color note cards, each code has a specific mental trigger for me, and when I have 5 minutes or 3 minutes to make a draft pick, it helps me make a quick decision because I like to rank guys, first of all, by talent, and then also by position or by need. I might need a center fielder versus left-handed pitchers. Good left-handed reliever. I need a starter with 150 innings. I can have those specific needs and do a separate pile for each of those. Each color code means something different. Here's how I did it. You may or may not like it or adapt them for your needs. But if you can find color-coded note cards, I find them really helpful in setting up my draft board. Yes, it looks like a basket on Easter morning, and my wife loves to tease me about it, but it really works for me at draft time. I start with the hottest color, pink. I don't have too many guys. Pink is a guy who's going to be excellent for the future and has a good card this year. Michael Pineda, Eric Hosmer, right? These guys have a good card now and good for the future. I use pink. Depending on how many guys I got at pink, I may also put it into a top prospect who's available for the first time, like Mike Trout, for example, is the #1 prospect out there this year. I might use him pink. And pink tells me quickly this is a top-tier super player. So whenever I have a chance to get a pink guy, I don't want to pass it up. I go down in level of hotness, then I go to purple, or orange if you want to use orange, right? And that's the guy who's either really good for a card this year or a really good prospect who I can't use this year. He's probably not a top 5 prospect, but your second-tier prospect that I really can't use for the future. So this year it might be Phil Humber's got a great card in the bullpen, but how good is he for the future? Or I might use someone like Devin Mesoraco or something that's a really good rookie, but really won't help me at all this year. Then I go yellow, someone who's only got a good card and no future, and a third-tier prospect. I go green for someone who's just sort of a plug this year that I can fill a hole with but doesn't have a future. And then I go blue with a guy that's the last tier, taking a chance on a guy who really doesn't have much of a future, but maybe he hits lefties or something, has one thing that's of value. So use my funky Easter egg color-coded system, and on draft day, when you're deciding between 2 players, you can quickly mentally know this is a really hot prospect or this is a 1-year plug that I'm going to fill into a hole. And when you got 3 minutes and you're on the clock, that can be a hard decision to make with just a name. The color-coded cards really give me a lot of more efficiency on draft day. For Stratomatic, I'm Matt Beagle.